Yeah.
I saw this thing that the HQ Trivia co-founder did.
Yeah.
They didn't they charge like 6 people with that or something?
Yeah, I
So
think that was part of the article. Well, maybe that wasn't. I was trying to find because I saw like one Rolling Stone article on Twitter, but like I tried to find the same one, but I couldn't when I was trying to Google it. But yeah, I think they said like 6 people were arrested within this whole like shebang.
yeah, and it like no. So what I was gonna say was, what's
Hmm.
his name? Scott Rogowski or
Hmm.
whatever, the
Yeah,
host.
can't believe
He's
you
not
pulled that
involved in
shit
this,
out.
right?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think he's even. I don't think he even does HQ anymore. I think he
No,
stopped a while
yeah,
ago.
he stopped doing that.
Man, I remember playing
Well,
that
what
shit
happened to
every
this guy?
single fucking day.
Drug delivery service.
Yeah, it's just straight up. That was the more than like. Obviously, I mean the
Mm.
fact that this guy died because of it, but like that there's actually like a delivery service where you can call and get heroin and cocaine sent to you.
Yeah, Mike's Candy Shop.
Some name, right?
This
Yeah,
illicit enterprise allegedly allowed people to order heroin and cocaine to their doorstep simply by calling the business phone number. Wow.
Man,
Oh,
I
so
could,
he OD'd. That's what happened?
and that like connected to like this service that there's only been like one reported death, and it was this dude.
jeez.
Oh, damn. So this is how they're gonna get the whole operation.
The DA is in on this bitch.
Honestly, I don't mean to be any kind of way, but like for a service that you can literally just order hard drugs on, I'm surprised someone hasn't died sooner. Like,
If convicted, each of the 6 Mike's Candy Shop members face a minimum of 10 years in prison. Their arrests come one day after the U.S. Attorney's Office in L.A. announced the arrest of 3 men involved in the overdose of Mac Miller.
oh,
Yeah. Oh,
So if you're delivering drugs to doorsteps, they're cracking in on you. So stop.
that's you said a minimum of 10 years because that's kind of like
Yeah, 10-year minimum.
you would think that from an organization that is literally the cause of someone dying and also selling hard drugs, that the minimum might be a little harder than 10 years.
Well,
you'd think that.
they never put a gun to his head and said, "Take this heroin." Okay, he did it
That's
on his
true.
own.
These are
This
facts.
was in New York,
These
so
are
it
the
might
facts
be
that
also.
matter.
I don't know what the laws are. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know the law?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess like I don't know. I guess like in Georgia, it would probably like these dudes would probably be in there for basically life.
Yeah. Tough.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just like a weird because I don't know because I don't want to talk about it or whatever. But like when you look at like anything trending like news wise, every single thing is politics. Like to find any kind of news story besides like political stuff or whatever, you have to go to like the fun section or the entertainment section of like Twitter or Reddit or whatever because if you don't want political news, which is I don't know, kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's just the nature of our news right now.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't think I think it's like we're at to a point now where like politics is more interesting than like wacky news.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like I don't know. I think there's quite frankly there's a lot going on as well, so it probably just opens up for a lot of different stories.
Yeah. Agreed.
We can talk about Joker
Yeah.
because we know that's going to take up a bulk of it.
You're a fucking
Yeah.
clown, so.
It's tough. Here's what I'll say. I just quick. I'll do quick first impressions. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more because me and Matt saw it twice yesterday, and I enjoyed it more the second time. Like the first time I watched it, it's especially in like the beginning, it felt very slow and very like it was kind of like dragging for me. But then when I watched it the second time, it was almost like, oh my god, we're this quick into the movie right now. Like I wasn't like it just moved like a lot quicker. But what I told Matt was what I really enjoyed the movie just in general, but what I really liked about it was I felt like I was watching something that I had never seen before, but I was still watching a Joker movie.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate, actually. My first take was damn near the same, where I was like, man, this is like, it's like it's really dragging on. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch it a second time, but thinking about it afterward, I was like, it wasn't that bad. Like it really wasn't as slow as like my first impression led me to believe. The pacing was good. It was the what was the chain of events? Like something happened first, but when he killed those 3 dudes on the subway subway.
Yeah, the train, yeah, or subway, whatever.
That was like when the whole movie started really picking up for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like especially on the second beat where it's like you kind of already know everything that's gonna happen, but you're kind of like watching it like where
Unfold.
are the very specific moments where like the story like moves forward. That is definitely like the crux.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first impressions of it were I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I just liked like the descent into madness was like real. And I was saying that I was hoping they didn't go like something campy like he turned into the Joker because no one laughed at his comedy special and no one like he was bullied as a clown, and it wasn't that. It was like a lot darker than that. And I think the tone of the movie was like dark and like really just kept me on edge the whole time, and I enjoyed it.
They kept up the tension so fucking well.
Yeah, especially like in the end with the talk show or whatever, because we were all saying it's like you were on edge because you were like, is he gonna kill himself like he had like pretended like practice to or whatever, or is he going to kill Murray? Because it kind of went back and forth on that. Yeah, I liked it a lot. What I said was that like I think the Joker as a character kind of is almost seen as like a mastermind because it's like he's so unexpected, like you don't expect for him to do like what he's going to do. But I think like the way that it's usually interpreted is because like he's smart, like as insane as he is, he's just a smart person. And I didn't get that from like the Arthur character, but it was like towards the end his actions that he was doing was so like there's no way anybody could anticipate it, that was enough. Like he didn't need this like huge amount of intelligence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, he almost kind of felt like an idiot, but
yeah, well,
I wouldn't say idiot, I'd say more like unaware.
Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of like the point, because it's not like it wasn't like he was just not getting it. It was like it wasn't like a thing of like, oh, I like am seeing society and I just don't like, I can't understand that because I'm stupid or whatever. It's like I can't understand it because everything that I think is the complete opposite of what all of you are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's like that's how that whole interaction with Murray went. He's talking about his societal view and how it's like comedy is, whatever. It's per person.
Yeah, it's subjective.
It's subjective, yeah. Lost the term.
I think that they did all the kills really good in this movie too. Like I really enjoyed like when he killed when his first 3 kills on the train. I thought they were really good.
Yeah, because they didn't even show him doing it. They just saw the bullet go through the guy's head.
Yeah, I think that was like his like snapping point. Like he turned into the Joker like at that moment.
Well, because I said when like because you see the first part where he gets jumped by the kids and when they're all kicking him and beating him down, like he's like crying and just like in a fetal position and everything and like just like just giving into it. But I said that like when there was a shot where they showed his head like falling down and then like him being kicked and he was like stone faced, like he just wasn't like showing any emotion whatsoever, and I was like, oh, this is different. Like this is a change. Like there's a reason why they're showing 2 scenes of him like being jumped like this.
Yeah, and it was like the compiling of like he lost his job, they were cutting funding at the place that he was going to get his meds, like he wasn't going to be able to get his meds anymore, and like everything was like caving in on him, and he's on the train, and here come like, and then it's like the whole class struggle, like here comes these like Gotham elites, and then he kills them. Mm-hmm. Kind of like, and the third guy he pretty like gruesomely like execution style kills him.
Yeah. Me and Matt said, well, we were talking about like the ending of how, well, first of all, that we liked that the Wayne's dying wasn't just like another like, oh, we're taking a stroll down crime alley, like it changed it to like they kind of had to get out of there, Yeah.
It was an escape route, not just like, oh, let's go down this right way.
Right. And this gets into a whole bunch of other stuff because right now I'm not against them doing it, but I feel no need for there to be a sequel to this movie. But money speaks, and if it makes enough money, they're going to try at least. And I don't know what the whole thing of bringing Joaquin Phoenix back is, but I was saying beforehand that like I wonder if they're going to get into a whole thing where like Joaquin Phoenix's character dies, which he obviously doesn't, but like the idea of the Joker like lives on, and then like whoever's the next one to take on that mantle will be the one that like Bruce fights when he gets older. But what we were talking about that would have been a lot interesting, like going on the idea of like breaking expectations, is when that scene happens where the guy goes to kill Thomas and Martha Wayne, if instead like you see the bullet go into Bruce's head. And then because this movie works because it's Joaquin Phoenix, so my whole thing about like, oh, the idea of the Joker could live on, I don't know if that's like the best way to go about it, because quite frankly, I mean, I'm sure another actor could have done it, but if he wasn't in this movie, I just don't think it works.
Mhm.
And it's like, if you're wanting to move forward with him, like you have to have a Batman that could be like immediately, and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman. I don't know if that actor could even be like the Thomas Wayne Batman. He seems probably too old to do it.
Well,
But
it's also like Joaquin Phoenix's performance is the movie. Like,
right.
that's the movie, not anything else. Like, it's not like a huge
wasn't-
like set piece or anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say this isn't like some setup for a Batman film. This is a Joker film.
Yeah.
Right. Which I'm saying, like, if you wanted to continue his story, like if you wanted to see like the next piece of it or whatever, I don't know what else you do besides bringing Batman into it. You know what I mean? Like, because then
Well,
at
even
that point
still-
it's just like chaos in the city.
Wasn't Joaquin Phoenix against like it becoming like a big like Batman fest movie?
Yeah, he was like, he didn't want Thomas Wayne in it. He barely even wanted the name Gotham to be like, he wanted to be, whatever, anything else. But it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, and we were saying too, because it's like when they introduced those like detectives, that how easily could they have been like, oh, here's I'm Detective so and so, and here's my partner Detective Gordon. Like they could have just slapped these easy like Batman references, but they really didn't. That I could catch, like nothing super obvious.
Yeah,
I
like
didn't see
it might have been
anything
like the news anchor might have been like someone from like a comic series or whatever, but it wasn't like big hit names that a lot of people would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. But I don't know, because it just seems like I think almost every podcast we've recorded talked about how stupid DC is being. And then they make something like this, which I could understand why some people wouldn't like this movie. Like, I get it. But at the same time, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, we've said that, like, Marvel has done what Marvel has done. They created a cinematic universe, and they're the best at it. And I'm not saying that DC can't do a cinematic universe, but, like, quit trying to be Marvel, because you're not going to be, and you're going to fail at it. But like, they make this, it seems like whenever they like consolidate their stories, the Dark Knight trilogy, Man of Steel, before it went to like, the big cinematic universe and everything, this Joker movie, it seems like
there's more care put into it.
Yeah, like it's just like there's more energy and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably like a mindset of, oh well, we don't have to like establish a good story or anything as long as we're cramming a bunch of characters into it.
But I'm saying you could still do like Wonder Woman and make it like its own thing. You can do Aquaman, make it its own thing. And then if it's like successful and you wanted to like tie those things together, it wouldn't be like some insurmountable ask to be like, hey, like these are people that are all in the same universe and they're going to team up now, instead of being like going in thinking like we need to build a bigger universe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, because like, yeah, especially with DC, because like all the different characters, like at least the main like heroes and stuff, are from different cities. It's not like Marvel where every single Marvel hero is from New York. Like,
yeah,
because it's so I'm saying, like, because like you could have Wonder Woman having an issue in like her city, or or like I think Flash is called like Capital City or something like that. You could have like in these different regions or whatever, and it not have to intersect. But then one day like a bigger threat comes in where like you start intersecting the characters a little bit.
Yeah.
I just also think that like Marvel from the beginning kind of like, I mean, all the characters have their own like personalities and stuff, but they kind of like streamlined it to like, this is like the Marvel brand. Like you can have your own stories and kind of like tell it your own way, but it's going to feel within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think that like characters, at least on screen and everything, like Batman and Superman and Flash and whatever, are all so different that it's really hard to like tonally put them together in the same movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before too, and this really doesn't contribute to anything that you just said, but it's hard to make DC films in general with like big team shit because they're all given god powers. So it's hard to make a narrative from fucking people that can't die.
Yeah.
There's no stakes.
Yeah. It's just weird because it's like obviously DC has the capabilities to make good movies, and I heard somebody else say this, and it goes into the whole idea with the Joker is that like Iron Man works because it's not about Iron Man, it's about Tony Stark. Spider-Man works because it's not about Spider-Man, it's about Peter Parker. And it was like I know a lot of people had reservations about the idea of like giving the Joker a backstory, but it's like this Joker movie works because it's about watching Arthur descend into madness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like Joker robbing a bank. It's like art, like you just said. It's like it's about his like journey into becoming Joker than it is like the Joker up to Joker hijinks.
Yeah, and we were saying that like it was kind of, I don't know if they like intentionally were doing this, but like the whole idea of like nobody knows really where the Joker is. There's different origins and everything like that. That it was kind of like Arthur and himself almost went through that because he was like, oh, I'm a comedian, but like he really wasn't, and he wasn't that funny. It was like, oh, I'm Thomas Wayne's son, but then he wasn't. Oh, I'm like Penny Fleck's son, but he wasn't, and like it was like he and himself didn't really know who he was supposed to be.
But found himself as Joker, like.
Yeah, it was like he was like whoever he thought that he was, because the whole thing of like, oh, I never even knew that like I existed, that like when he said that to his therapist or whatever, and then like, but it was like when he was like, and then once he killed those people, it's like, but now I know that I do. It was like once I did this heinous act, it like it brought out me, like who I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those movies that it's just like, I don't know, because there's a lot of them that are like this, but it's just like, it was one of those movies like, man, I would love to see more of this, but I think that like it ending is probably better than it continuing.
Like, yeah. And
That's
then it
what
getting more and then it being like trash, and then it's like, that kind of sullies everything that I enjoyed.
Well, that's what I'm worried about with El Camino, with the Breaking Bad movie. It's like, I don't know. Brian, you started watching it, right?
Yeah, I'm really far in.
How far are you actually?
Season 3, halfway through episode 2.
Oh shit, good shit.
Well, this is the problem. You can't let things die. Like, no one wants to let something just like, not like die in like a bad sense, but just like it's over. Like, it was a thing. It happened. It was great, and now it's over. And that's okay.
Like, and I'm not like, I don't think they're god awful or whatever, but it's like, The Office went on for 2 seasons longer than it should have. And it's like, that was a beloved show that like tons of people were watching, had huge ratings, like it went and then like it just started tapering off. And it's like Breaking Bad did exactly what it needed to do. It was like, we are at our height, we are telling the story that we want to tell, and then we're going to end it. And now look at like, I mean, I know that the story literally needed to end, but it's like, end the story when you know you need to end it. Like, look at Game of Thrones. It's like that show will now live in infamy forever because it didn't like end in the proper way that it should have, And it's like, I know it's a little bit of a different comparison because it's like there are actually like the books and everything that it's like they're all based off of, but it's like the same idea. Breaking Bad will always go down as a great show because it started and ended as a great show, and they didn't extend it to be anything else than that.
Yeah, and now it's like you're putting that in the balance with this new movie, and it's like it very well could be good.
I think that like because like from the trailer, it literally picks up right at the ending, but like I guess maybe I was hoping that like it would end like this movie would take place like 5 or 6 years down the line, like it would be removed a little bit, you know what I mean? So it's like you could still have the Breaking Bad story and then whatever, but it just seems like it's just going to continue right from there.
Yeah. So the thing with the end, I guess no spoilers for Brian, so never mind maybe.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to be a little careful about it, because I know like stuff about it or whatever, but like just the intricacies I don't want to get into.
Yeah. Like I know the ending, but I know the end result. I don't know how we get there.
Yeah, and that's I and when you put it in our group chat or whatever, I was like, is Skylar a bitch the whole season, or is it just like I was like, oh, just you wait. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, so far, like me and Dorothy, because we're watching it together, we have officially felt that Skylar was in the right one time. And it's when she decided to divorce him.
That bitch is never in the right, for being honest. She's so, whatever. Like, my thing with Skylar is she's such a nagging bitch. It's like, leave me the fuck alone.
She really is. But when she finally puts everything together and she's like, "You're a fucking asshole. Like you're a drug dealer. This and that. You're leaving the house today." I was like, you know what? I hate you, but I get it.
Honestly, though, let's be real. Let's be real for a second.
Oh boy.
What Walter was doing, yes, it's wrong by our our sensibilities,
quote, unquote.
like morally wrong. But it's like he was doing, like, it was coming from a good place. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a drug dealer because I'm a fucking degenerate.
Yeah, I just want to get into
scallywag. This. It's like I'm trying to leave something. Like, I'm dying of cancer, and I just want to leave you and Walt Jr. something. Like, I don't want to die and leave you. Yeah, leave you with nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I think where where the show does it really well is that, like, in the beginning seasons, like, it just shows her as just like nagging, like that's all it is. Like he hasn't even done anything wrong, and she's like getting on him or whatever.
And she's just
so
being
it's like
a fucking ass.
Yeah, and that's like that. So that's like your point of view. So when she says something like reasonable, like, oh, you're like a drug dealer, you're doing all this kind of stuff, I want you out of the house, it's like psychologically you're like, don't bitch, like you don't know what he's doing, like.
Yeah, right.
It's such a good show. I've said that, like, I think Game of Thrones, if it had a good ending, would have taken over as my favorite show of all time. But because it ended the way it did, Breaking Bad, it's just perfect through and through.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing I find with Game of Thrones, in my humble opinion, see, like, the first 4 seasons, so we're talking like 40 episodes, are like perfection. Like, they are perfect, in my opinion.
They're really good.
And it is, and even that 5th season is not like, I don't know, it's not like perfection, but like it's still pretty good. So that's what Breaking Bad had, 5 seasons?
Yeah.
And like you said, though, the problem is it ends shitty. So it's like, and maybe it might even be a thing of like recency bias where we're like, oh fuck, like Game of Thrones, dude.
Yeah.
So bad because like the last thing we remember is that garbage.
Yeah, but it's like the last thing I remember from Breaking Bad is amazing, and that, like, I mean, Breaking Bad could have fallen in the same trap. It could have ended like shit, like, yeah, but it didn't, but because it's just like, I don't know, and I know it's a complete, because it's like Vince Gilligan, like creator of Breaking Bad, like he kind of had his story, he had his whole idea, he wrote it, he ended it, like he knew exactly where all of the pieces were supposed to like thread into, and like. But and like Game of Thrones is different because it's like adapting from a book, and they kind of were like taking source material. They didn't exactly know 100% how it was supposed to like come together and everything. But like, it just seems like there like that last season of Game of Thrones was a hot mess, and it seemed like nobody knew what they were doing. And like, as much as like they've wanted to come into like interviews afterwards and say like, oh no, like, you know, this is exactly how we thought the story would end. It's like, I don't believe you for a second, like.
Yeah,
there's too many inconsistencies found to like for me to actually believe that. But
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Brian, I will say it's not bad. Like, that's all. But I will say that I do think that season 5 is the weakest season. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's the weakest season, but then again, it's not.
But marginally.
Bad. Yeah, it's still good. It was just the problem. Like Game of Thrones, you compare like the last season of Game of Thrones to like season like 3 or like 2, and it's like, is this the same show?
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's like absolutely nuts. Like it's like a long-standing joke now, but it's like the dialogue in the last season for Jon Snow was like, "Dany, my queen, I don't want it," or fucking "Dany, I love you." It's like, it was so bad.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Over and over again.
And it was like he was such a good character for like the whole series, just so he could fucking end up being like McQueen like every 5 seconds. It was so aggravating.
Yeah, and it's like his whole storyline of like, it's like, I would understand why Jon Snow doesn't want to the throne or whatever. Like I understand that, but it's just like, you got to give me more than just no. Like,
yeah. McQueen, I don't
Yeah.
want it. God, yeah, exactly. Like if we got more than just like I don't want it. Like, okay, why don't you want it?
Yeah. Seemed to be really the most qualified person, for being honest.
Yeah, and then it's like they went more into like. I wish they had went more into like the whole Mad Queen thing, and then he realizes, man, I don't want it, but I like need to want it, kind of thing. Like it's either me or her, and like she's fucking nuts, right? Like I wish they had gone more into that, but that was even trash. And then we got the fucking dumbass like council, like, ooh, better story than Brand the Broken bullshit.
Yeah.
Absolute garbage.
Council of fucking nobodies.
What, Brian? What are your opinions right now from where you're at of what's her name, Marie?
Oh,
Hank's wife.
Yeah.
She's just annoying. I wouldn't say she's like a bitch like Skylar, but she's fucking annoying.
What? God, I'm really trying not to like get into spoilers or whatever. Like, has she done anything like weird yet? I'll leave it at
Shoplifting?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're like past that.
Okay.
And the whole like Skylar being like, I'm not fucking talking to you until you admit it, you bitch.
What episode did you say you were on? You said
season 3, halfway through 2.
Okay. I'm just trying to think. Yeah.
Episode
okay.
2. Season 3,
So
episode
you're probably. So you've been introduced to Gus then?
2. Yes.
Yeah.
Only a couple times though.
Okay. Yeah.
he's in season 3.
Yeah, I think because they bring him in
In
to
the
season.
very beginning.
Yeah. Don't they start talking about him in 2?
Yeah. So I think if I'm remembering correctly, and it's all amalgamating together because I'm watching them so close together. But I think Saul was like, I got a guy, and then the next season picks up, and it's like, you have a meeting with him at El Pollo Loco. Fucking, you better be there. You only get one shot, and then he go, you know how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking through like episode like summaries or whatever, trying to like get a better idea, because it's just like, obviously I know the whole story, I just don't know the ending thing. So if you're at Gus, then have you been introduced to the twins?
Yes. We don't currently know anything about them other than they're twins, and they did the whole like there's just like there's no introduction.
Yeah.
So it's really funny just seeing these two super serious people like get out of their car in this fucking indigenous village in Mexico and fucking start crawling on the ground, and then they come up to a farm and they get dressed.
Yeah. That's an interesting storyline. I really enjoyed that storyline.
So funny. Right now, the farthest that they are right now is that Hank started, or didn't start, but like was telling everyone like to keep an eye out for them because the fucking they killed all the people in the truck or whatever.
Yeah, God, it's just such a good show. I would implore anybody, if you've lived under a rock, Michael, and not watched this show yet, I would absolutely do it. It is my favorite show of all time, easily one of the best show of all times, maybe the best show of all time.
It's really good. I will say though, the first season took a little bit for me to like start getting into.
Oh yeah,
It
that's
was
what
really
I said.
slow.
That's honestly, that's like a lot of shows that I've like realized. It's just like, just watch the first season, and then after that, because like that's where all the setting pieces happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're setting up all the fucking plot devices, and the characters need introductions, and settings need to be placed.
Right. So it's almost like it's going to be like, I don't know, repetitive or slow or whatever. And then once you get into like season 2 and you see where they're going to start taking the story, then you can check out. But that was my thing, because it's like I didn't disagree, and I knew that there was a lot of people who weren't watching Breaking Bad because of that first season. But I'm like just get past the first season, because everything else is so good.
And that's the problem. But here's the problem with that. It's like, yeah, it's fine with Breaking Bad because whatever. I don't know how many episodes are in the pilot season, but
Well,
7.
yeah, so whatever. 7 episodes. You can get through that. Anyone can do that. But it's like shows like Arrow.
Yeah.
that have like 20 episodes in their first season. It's like, well, just get past that.
Yeah,
And it
just
gets
as
a
long
lot
as
better.
episodes.
Yeah. And it's
Well,
like, well, shit, like this is garbage.
well, that's yeah, because it's like The Office. The first season's only like 6 episodes, but it's like if The Office was like 20 episodes or something like that
That'd
in the
be
first
rough.
season, it would be rough. But it's only 20 minutes a piece. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
so like you could probably still like get through it or whatever. But like, yeah, I don't disagree with that. Well, it's
Or
just because like not, I there are some shows that I can understand why you would do it or whatever, but it's like I'm sorry, no show, if you're doing a proper contained simplistic story and everything, needs 20 episodes. If you're doing long form episodes, like if you're doing something like The Office where it's like 20 or whatever, but if you're doing like a 45-minute standard episode or whatever, it doesn't, you don't need a 20 episode season.
well, whatever. It's like Arrow. I hate the thing with that show, like Arrow and those like CW shows. It's like soap operas, but with like superheroes in them. Like that's literally what they are.
Yeah, that's
So-
a problem. Yeah.
So it's like you can have these shows where it's like, okay, Arrow's fighting this criminal today, and now Arrow's fighting this guy today, and it's like, but this whole season has an overarching plot that's going to come together in like the last two. So watch because if you like that formula though, if you like the formula of like, oh, Arrow's fighting this person in this episode and this person in this episode, but it's all going to come together at the end of the season, then for more power to you. But it's just like, I can't do that.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying. I do think, however, though, that within each one of those episodes, like, I don't think that it's just all, like, within, like, the very end of it. Because it's, like, specific thing about Arrow Season 2, because that was the last season that I really watched, there are multiple strings of things that happen within the, like, the episodes that you see that, like, just him fighting these other villains are kind of like the catalyst for it, that if you didn't see all of that, the ending would have been stupid.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. I didn't mean to yell, but it's like, yeah, you have to watch these 20 episodes to understand the last four, and that's where all like the action, or that's where all like I feel like the story is in a lot of these shows.
Well, is that not a show though? Like, I just feel like.
No, because it's like you have to fucking sit through bullshit fucking filler episodes. It's like The Walking Dead. That's another perfect example. It's like you have to sit through some of these bullshit filler episodes. You have to sit through some of these episodes that like don't actually matter, or like an episode where it's like it's just like building to something else. It's like if you watch like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, like every episode has a purpose. Every episode has like is building this story. Like it's building. It's not like, okay, this is kind of like a throwaway one, you know?
Yeah, Walking Dead was really bad about that. I felt like there was some episodes that I was like, I just wasted an hour of my life.
Yeah, it's true. And like Doctor Who was like that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess sometimes with some shows though, I do enjoy kind of like getting off the beaten path for a second and just like having like its own contained story. Like not everything has to be like this completely like plot changing like device or whatever. Like you could have like this kind of like other side story within like a season and then get back into like I don't know. Sometimes
I agree. Like Doctor Who works. Like I that's like the one that I think like works, because there's something to be said about like, oh, Doctor Who's going on an adventure. That's fun. Like that's a fun time no matter what.
Right.
Like I don't care if this is like affecting the overarching plot of this season, but it's like, how many fucking times do I have to watch Arrow fight some fucking lowly criminal and then be like, oh shit, like Deathstroke is somehow involved in this?
Yeah. No, I get that.
I don't fucking care.
That's another thing. Like CW, I'm trying to think, because they have Arrow, Flash, Batwoman now, DC's Legend of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and like Black Lightning or something. Like they have so many different shows and so many different type of characters, and every single one of them is a soap opera. Like,
yeah,
you would have thought that they maybe could have like, I don't know. I guess that's kind of more just like CW's shtick, but like you would have thought that they were like, oh, like we could kind of like change it up a little bit here and there, and
yeah.
it is tonally, it is different between like bright colored city like Flash and everything, and like supposedly dark brooding like Arrow Cave Arrow. But
it's the problem. It's the problem with all these like network TV like shows. It's like how many I don't know if any of you watch Fox often, but I do because of football. It's like, how many times do you watch Fox and it's like the new #1 comedy or like the new #1 drama, and then it's like canceled in a year. It's like there's a reason there's like 5 new shows on Fox every year, because they all fucking are trash and they don't last because they suck. And it's the same shit. Like I was a big fan of like the Marvel Netflix shows, because I thought they were good. Like, not all of them. Like, Iron Fist was awful, but like I was a huge fan of the Daredevil series on Netflix. But like, fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. followed the same shit as like Arrow. It was like, here's bullshit, 18 bullshit episodes, and then like 4 episodes that actually have some sort of substance to them. Enjoy that. But you have to watch the 20 episodes to understand what's happening, of course.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think you could also, like, because we were talking about that, it's like there's just some things movie-wise that are built to, like, just be mindless, like, you know, like Fast and Furious. It's like nobody's going in there to, like, get, like, a thick, complex plot or whatever. It's
Deep,
like,
rich
cars
story.
go boom. Yeah.
I get that.
And it's like, I think that there's just, like, that's the market that some of these shows are, like, going for. It's just like, I want to turn on a show, I want to watch an episode, I want to watch Arrow, beat the shit out of a thug, and then that's it. Like, that's what I want to see. And if there's small little sprinkles to like a bigger fight at the end, that's cool. And that's what that market's for.
And that's like, right, to each his own. Like, I started watching House, and it's like kind of the same thing. I'm like falling off of it because it's like, how many times am I going to watch a guy come into the hospital like, oh, I have a runny nose? It's like, oh no, you don't have a runny nose, you have fucking AIDS in your nose. It's called nose AIDS. It's a new
It's very
thing.
rare. It's the first thing.
It's like,
the first patient.
Okay. And it's like, oh, whoa, hold on, because in the last 10 minutes of this episode, we're going to show you some like plot that's going to come back in episode 20. So just don't click away. Like,
Yeah. And don't forget this. Like, you need this.
yeah, you need to remember that. But
I
you don't
fell
need to
off of
remember that
House
this guy
for
had
the
nose
same
AIDS.
reason.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. Well, that's not true. I've seen it, but like I never like watched it.
Yeah. On top of like the bullshittery, it's also just every episode's the same. Yeah, like you said, every episode's the same shit.
Yeah, and that's my big problem with Arrow. Like I don't know. I really had to get through the first season of Arrow, but I
did
really
too,
enjoyed
honestly.
the first season of Flash, and I could not finish Arrow season 2, and I didn't try with Flash.
You said you really didn't like the first season of Flash?
No, I did. I
Oh.
enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
didn't really like the first season of Arrow, and the second season of Arrow, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I've watched 40 of basically the same fucking episode. I'm checking out.
I watched Flash up to season 3, I think. I might have cut off before then. No, I watched all of season 3. And like season 4, it just got really far off from me. But like the dialogue in that show, there's literally a part basically towards the end. There's like this whole thing that they've created where like if Flash goes back in time to the exact moment that he went back in time, like if it's the exact same, like if he time travels, but he just goes to the same moment, he'll basically clone himself. And there's like a whole part where like he's having to race like Zoom, which is like the evil speedster of the season or whatever, and like they're like he's trying to destroy the multiverse, and like the clone is like doing some like run around this machine to like destroy it, and then like the line I'm pretty sure is literally like, what is the time remnant doing? And one of them goes, he's counteracting it because if that's out of phase, it'll affect that one. That's the entire line. And it's like, what?
Oh, yeah.
You people don't know what you're doing, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I was telling Matt yesterday that there's like an interview of Michelle Pfeiffer, the woman who plays like the older Wasp in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and she was like, it was just like, because it was like, watch Michelle Pfeiffer have no idea who this character is, and she's like, my character was stuck in the quantum realm and is back, and she's Wasp, but there's a new Wasp, and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. But I was saying where it's like, whatever, if she doesn't know, then that's fine. But it's like, I need my like Iron Mans, I need my Spider-Mans, I need my Captain America. They need to know. Like, they need to know what's happening. But I don't really care if she doesn't really know.
Or it's like the story with like Gwyneth Paltrow, like, because when they shot the whole like Tony's funeral thing, like they shot that in Infinity War, so there was like a lot of actors like, oh, Michelle Pfeiffer, why is she here? Because she hadn't been like announced to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp at that point, and like apparently Gwyneth Paltrow was like, why is Samuel L. Jackson here? And they were like, he's Nick Fury, and then she was like, who? Like,
Oof, how the fuck?
yeah, I was just like, you gotta. I mean, I feel like that's basic level. Like at least like for somebody who's actually in the franchise, like, you should probably know that.
No, you should definitely know that. That's like, you gotta know that. Well, she was the same bitch who forgot she was in what, Spider-Man?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you forget you were in a movie? Like, I get if you don't remember the characters, but like, yeah, you were in that movie. It's like, no, I wasn't. It's like, no, you were. Yeah, you were in that movie.
Well, yeah, it's
I
like, and
was.
I guess it's just like at her level, she's probably just got so much money streaming in that she's not even, like paying
Yeah,
attention. But it's like
she's been on cloud nine so long. It's like, oh, I was in Spider-Man.
yeah, it's like
okay.
another movie check. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I've learned to not question them.
Well, Marvel movies aren't even cinema, according to Martin Scorsese. We've talked about that yesterday, me and Matt. But did you read that, Brian?
You guys chatted a little bit with me in the party.
Yeah. Listen. I'm not saying that Marvel movies are the pinnacle of every single, are the pinnacle of cinema and that they're just groundbreaking human stories or whatever. But it's like, I just love this whole idea of like, oh, if you are not having some huge historical human story, you are not high art. Like,
yeah,
it's just very pompous.
And it's also like, I don't want to pick on Dwayne Johnson because I love Dwayne Johnson, but it's like, you watch Dwayne Johnson movies and then go watch like The Winter Soldier and tell me how those compare in terms of like these amusement park ride movies.
Right.
It's like they just don't.
And then it's like you watch like The Winter Soldier and watch like an Oscar caliber level movie or whatever, and it's like, it's like these are also two different stories, but it's not like it's such a drastic change. Like the last two Avengers movies literally dealt with an idea of like, what if half the human race just stopped? Like, how would we as a world like handle that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like you just said, like Winter Soldier, if for all intents and purposes, it's like a political thriller talking about like what would happen if like an agency got too much power, like what would it do to our world, like how would it affect us, and like it goes more and more. Like Black Panther is seen for a lot of people as like a movie that like deals with like civil rights and like the idea of like how are we going to like move forward with that and everything, and but it's in a superhero movie, and it just I feel like Martin Scorsese saw Iron Man, he goes, yeah, it was okay. And that was it. That's his experience with the Marvel Cinematic
Universe. Yeah, because that's what we were saying. How many freaking Marvel movies is Martin Scorsese going to see in his time? Probably, if any, zero.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
it's just not. But it's not even right. Like, it'd be one thing if you were picking on like someone else, but it's just not. Those aren't Marvel movies. Are not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like. I don't really get the, like, even if you think that, because there have been other people have came out and said it, and it's like, obviously, like, be true. I'm not sitting here saying, like, to lie or whatever, but it's like, why are you saying that? Like, I just feel like that's going to cause more controversy than it is, like,
well, because you're swinging up. Unfortunately, like, whatever. Martin Scorsese, amazing filmmaker, right? It's like, he doesn't have to answer to anyone, really.
Right.
But it's like, you're swinging up because it's like, it's news. It's like, I'm going to get my name in the news. And maybe he's not thinking of it like that. Probably not, because I doubt he really cares. But it's like, right now, Marvel is like the big thing, like the big name in cinema. Whether you like it or not. Like, whether you think they're actual cinema or not.
Well, it's like, I think Spielberg called them, like, the Westerns or whatever, because it's like there was a point where Westerns were, like, all the rage, and every single movie was a Western, and, like, everyone wanted to watch Westerns. And it's like, that may be true, but it's like, for right now, it's what everyone's into.
Yeah. It's like, maybe one day, Steven, we'll go back to your, dreamscape.
Yeah. Well, please. He's having to pull out the all the old stops with the Irishman.
Yeah.
He's got to bring out all the old guys. He's like,
well, that's the thing though. It doesn't make sense. Like you just said, if you hate Marvel movies, why do you have to go and be like they're not even cinema? It's like there's people that enjoy them, and there's like talented filmmakers that work on them.
Yeah, that was my thing.
That's just fucked up.
Well,
From that perspective, it's because, I mean, under the assumption, and I don't have all the answers here, but Scorsese is obviously a very well-received, talented director, and not necessarily all of the Marvel directors are, so he's really, like, swinging from the high branch, just fucking putting people down for no fucking reason.
Well, yeah, whatever. Like, not every football player is Tom Brady, Yeah. It's like, but these are still, like, talented, like, creative minds. It's not like we're getting fucking Joe Blow off the street to, like, oh, can you just, like, direct this
Yeah.
Avengers movie. I don't even know. It's like just do whatever.
Yeah, well, it's like two things I was thinking about. It's like, one, John Watts, the director of the Spider-Man movies, like, these are the biggest movies he's ever done. Like, there are more people watching these movies than any other thing he's ever done, and he's probably knowing that and putting a ton of effort and pride into it. You know what I mean?
It's the same
And,
thing
like,
with the Black Panther dude, right?
Yeah, well, because he did the only two movies he really did before that was Fruitvale Station and Creed.
Yeah.
Is it Coogler, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler. And like, or I don't know, but it's also like, I don't know, saying like Jon Favreau has made quite a name for himself, and he's kind of was like the pioneer of like, you know, pushing forward in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, or you know, it's just like. Or James Gunn, it was the other one. He said, like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is the biggest things he's ever done. And it's like, it's heartbreaking for somebody who he's looked up to for his entire life to pretty much just shit all
on your
over,
work.
like, his biggest piece of work he's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
just-
I just don't see, like, I don't know, like, what the context was, why he said it, or if he was asked or what. But it's like, why? It just didn't make any sense.
Well, it's the same thing with, like, I think Bill Maher or something said that, like, comic books were for overgrown man babies or something. And it's like, I feel like people who said that haven't read a comic since it was like, oh, jeepers, Batman, the Joker's gonna like that whole like comical, like, there's literally a comic book where like Batman was naked and you saw it all. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's like whatever. Like, this is obviously the creme de la creme of comic movies, but watch like The Dark Knight and tell me it's a fucking theme park ride. You know?
yeah.
It's just not that. And it's not like Batman 66. It's not Adam West running around in his underwear with like a cartoon bomb, like trying to throw it in the lake. You know, it's just not that.
Comically oversized, holding it over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bat Shark repellent.
Like, these movies are serious.
Yeah, and it's like it's serious in different ways because it's just like you just said, there's a difference between like The Dark Knight and The Winter Soldier, the difference between The Winter Soldier and Homecoming, but it's like they all still have relatable, serious tones that like people could relate to even in like a fantasy type of world. It's like you could watch Spider-Man and like relate to like a 15-year-old kid could watch Spider-Man and like relate to like that world or whatever, probably a lot better than he ever would Goodfellas or this Irishman movie or The Wolf of Wall Street.
That's exactly right. We're so sorry that we can't get like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and freaking Joe Pesci in our Irishman movie about Jimmy Hoffa. I'm so sorry every movie's not like that.
It's crazy.
You have fun with your theme park ride movies, and I'm gonna go watch my man.
I'm gonna make some big boy movies
Yeah.
about real things.
I think it was like Ethan Hawke or something said something that like, because like Logan it came out, which is another example of like a real, like, obviously in a superhero world, but a real gridded like human story. And like he had said something like he was coming out with a movie where he like played like a priest that like struggled with like sex addiction and like went into pedophilia or whatever. Like that was, and he was like, you know, Logan, you know, it's good and all, but it's still a guy, you know, with claws that comes out of his hands in like a superhero movie. And it's like, oh, because like, you know, your movie, and I'm not saying his movie could have been better. I never saw it though. I saw Logan.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, that's exactly it. It's like, I think it's changed now too. Like stories like The Dark Knight, like Logan, like Joker. It's like these are all comic book level stories, and like they're being like serious. Like they're Oscar contenders almost.
Well, it's like, oh, you know, E.T. is a great like childhood adventure story, but it's still a movie with an alien in it. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, I think James Cameron is also, if he wasn't like going after comic book movies, he like something around comic book movies, and it's like, yeah, the guy like is, you know, you've made all the really serious movies with Terminator, Avatar, Aliens, like.
I know. James Cameron has no freaking room to talk about. And it's like, this new fucking Terminator movie, which he's not directing, he's just producing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so maybe I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but it looks like hot garbage trash. Every time I'm sitting in a movie theater and I hear fucking Linda Hamilton say, "I'll be back," after throwing that grenade, I want to vomit.
I also, I don't know. I'm pretty confident in believing that like she's gonna have like I don't listen. I haven't followed Linda Hamilton, but like
Yeah.
You
it
haven't?
seems like she's gonna have like a Carrie Fisher issue in like The Force Awakens, where it's like, man, I'm really glad you're in this movie, but you haven't acted in a bit.
Well, shit. No
And it's showing.
disrespect. No disrespect to Linda Hamilton, or Terminator fans out there, but she wasn't even that like. It wasn't like, holy shit, Linda Hamilton, what a transcendent performance.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not like she was that great of an actor to begin with.
Yeah, when I watched, because I saw Terminator 2 for the first time in like the last couple of years, and I remember watching it, be like, well, you're kind of like you're really getting into this right now, like maybe a little more than you maybe should be.
God. And it's like Carrie Fisher, for what I don't know, she's good in the original trilogy, but like when she came, and no disrespect to the dead, but it's like, man.
But see, like, and I was like, I think she did better, as like a lot of people want to have issues with it or whatever. I think she did better acting wise than The Last Jedi. It was like when she was kind of like getting back into it. Well, the other thing with like Terminator is that like I guarantee you, if you stopped 10 people on the street, that like 2 of them would know, maybe would know that this movie is taking place after Terminator 2, and that anything else you've ever seen doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Ask the common moviegoer. Explain to me, if you will, the Terminator timeline, please.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah.
Well, especially with Genesis or whatever, because I don't know if
Yeah.
you've looked at the plot of that, but that really just screws everything up.
Well, it's like we were talking yesterday about like the X-Men timeline and how they really just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was saying, because like, yeah, I was basically like, there's going to be a point with the Marvel Cinematic Universe where it's going to get almost like the X-Men universe, because like, I don't know, let's just say for a second that like this universe goes on for another 10, 15 years. Like, that's at that point 2 decades. Like, there will be people who will be watching these movies that are like that will like be our age, that were like just being born when this all started. Like,
speaking of which, do you see they got a price for that Infinity Saga box set?
Oof.
yeah, wasn't it like
Nice and
$550?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was something like $549.99.
Yeah,
Oh,
Which
which
is
I think.
apparently it says here that's $90 more than you'd pay if you bought each movie for $20. But apparently they're all in 4K, all ultra high definition, and they all have bonus content.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like the whole point of buying like a box set. Like, honestly, if I'm somebody who's going to drop that much money or whatever, I'm probably going to pay the extra 90 to get like, it's like at that point, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, I own the Star Wars 1 through 6 and Superman. I think that's the only box sets we have. Oh, and Harry Potter.
oh yeah.
That too.
I have, see, as I go back and forth about like what, like there are like a select few things that I would probably buy like 4K Blu-ray things for, but it's like, we talked about this a little bit in the last podcast too, but like, and I don't think I mentioned this, but Samsung, the largest maker of Blu-ray players, is stopping manufacturing on Blu-ray players. Like,
So in this collector's edition, you get an exclusive Matt Ferguson lithograph. Okay. You get a Kevin Feige letter.
oh shit,
wow.
So a letter from the Feige.
personal.
Yeah, personal. Dear Matthew. Numbered limited edition collection item. I don't even know what that is. Get 23 individually packed 4K ultra high definition and Blu-ray art cases of all the movies. And exclusive bonus disc not available on digital. Includes never before seen deleted and extended scenes and more.
Wow.
And that's for $550.
We added every single piece of cut content we've ever cut.
Which is weird. Yeah. It's just like hours of just cut.
Fucking B-roll.
Like bullshit. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad I paid $550 for this. Can I get a edition that like doesn't have like Thor: The Dark World and maybe like Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
Knock off a couple bucks.
Yeah, knock off some of the price. Maybe remove the Feige letter. I don't really need that.
Yeah. Can I get this at a bargain? Like, yeah, you feel it and everything. I don't know. I might buy like a proper like box set of the Star Wars movies once the sequel trilogy is over. That might
Isn't
be.
it weird though that like Spider-Man: Far From Home is technically like the end movie? It's like the last one.
Well, it was the
So
same thing with Ant-Man. Ant-Man's technically was the last end, which I know like for the entire thing it's weird, but like Ant-Man was the ending for Phase 2.
Oh yeah, it's true. So Phase 3 was just Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Spider-Man.
Well, no, Infinity War. Well, hold on. I feel like there's more than that.
yeah.
Guardians 2, Ragnarok.
That was Phase.
Well, Ragnarok
3?
started it, I think, right?
Also,
Was
do you
that
get
Panther?
Hulk in this?
What? Oh, like the Incredible Hulk? I would imagine so.
Infinity Saga.
Phase 3, Marvel. Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure. Oh, Doctor Strange is also in Phase 3. Let's see. Film. Okay. Everything in film. Yeah, there's a lot in Phase 3. Everything in Phase 3 is Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home. So, yeah.
But like $550. That's like more. That's more than a PlayStation. It's more than like a Switch.
I wouldn't pay it.
That's a lot of money.
Especially when you're about to put out a streaming service and it's like, I guess like after a while it would equal out, but it's like, especially when you're about to put out a streaming service where I could pay $7 a month and all of these movies will probably be on there.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's something to be said about owning the physical copies, and especially like sometimes the digital version of movies kind of like fucks up the look of it.
Well, yeah, that's the other part. It's like I would buy these if I had like a legit like home theater setup. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
speaker system and everything. Like
Well, at that if I had a home fucking theater setup, maybe I'll have like fuck you money where I could just be like
right, exactly.
$550 drop in the bucket.
$550 easy.
Yeah. One day,
studio alone
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna as soon as I get my first Yang check,
Yeah.
I'm gonna half of it's going to Marvel.
Man. I don't know. Well, because it's like I was just gonna say with the whole Star Wars marker that I made or like comment that I made, it's like, do you just do a trilogy box set or do you put Rogue One and Solo into that?
No, you do 1 through 9 because you do the Skywalker saga.
Bonus extra content if you want
Yeah.
an extra $100 if you want these movies.
A letter from everyone's favorite Star Wars director, Rian Johnson.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My childhood.
Yeah. I want to see his new movie, that the Who Done
Oh,
It.
the Whodunit? Yeah. I do too.
It's a very interesting cast of people.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting, Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, I want to see that too.
When's that? Is that next weekend or is that?
It's next weekend, I'm pretty sure. And that Who Done It doesn't come out until November, right? It's like I think it's like
Another
Thanksgiving.
movie that started their marketing. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like whoever, like, I just don't get. It's like, oh, our movie's not coming up for another 9 months. We might want to put a trailer out.
Well, it
Some
might be a
buzz
thing
going.
to be like, damn, when's that fucking? See, it can work both ways though, because you can be like, oh, when's that new Who Done It? Like, when's that coming out? But it also can be like, I totally forgot that was the thing. Like, and now it's out, and it's like everyone's forgot about it.
Well, yeah, I
That's-
guess, and it's like I'm not like I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not a marketing expert.
Oh,
But
really?
What?
and sometimes it would work or whatever, but it's just like there are some movies that I'm like, I don't know who you're marketing towards, because it's like some Marvel movies, it's like if you put a trailer out 9 months before, all the people that you're really catering to at that point are people like me, and I was gonna go see that movie probably anyway. Like,
Yeah.
it does. So it's like to me, it's like you have to plan that to market it to like getting like these filthy casuals into the theater.
I agree. Because, and that's, I hate fucking trailers in that play in front of movies in general. because one, it's like
It's
now
getting
it's
ridiculous.
Like, it's like 30 minutes. It's like 30 minutes. I'm
Yeah.
sitting. It's like if you go to a movie at 6 o'clock, you could show up at 6:20 and you could probably see 10 more minutes of fucking trailers. It's absolutely ridiculous, and especially in a world where I can go on my phone and go on my computer and literally have any trailer I want at any time readily available to me. It's just like it seems unnecessary.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And it's like sometimes I like seeing the trailers because it's like, oh, I didn't realize this trailer was out, or it's like, oh, this is a movie that like I probably wouldn't have looked up or I wouldn't have watched this trailer for. But it's like, I don't know. I'm way more into movies than I think like the average consumer or whatever. But it's like, do people just not know that movies are coming out? Like I don't.
Yeah, right.
It's like. I don't know understand like who's sitting here like, oh man, all the coming attractions, like this I need to write all these down because I want to see these, like,
yeah, honestly.
And it's like I don't know, I think trailers should just go away, but it's let's limit it a little bit. It's like maybe for the the comic book movies, maybe show the action stuff and everything, like to help the audience and everything, maybe in the rom, like I don't know. It just I don't need to see every single movie under the sun that's coming out for the next year.
And I think to like the compounded issue here too is that we have a list now, so we see so many movies and it's like they're starting to play these trailers so early. It's like for months I've been seeing that shitty fucking Terminator trailer.
That's
for
true.
months I've been seeing that fucking shitty Gemini Man trailer, and it's like, fuck, I do not want to hear this fucking I'm going hunting. I don't want to hear that anymore. I'll kill myself if I have to hear it one more time.
Yeah.
But you also have movies like fucking Zombieland where I totally I have A-list too. I go see movies just as regularly. Totally forgot it was coming out. I saw my second trailer for that movie.
That trailer doesn't even look that good.
No,
I like the
really
first
doesn't.
Zombieland a lot, and that trailer does not look good.
Big shock. It's a fucking cash grab.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say because there was a point where it was like you maybe go see a movie like once a month and it's like, oh man, like let's make sure we get there early. I want to see some of these trailers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it's like you said, like we're going out like nearly at least once a week, and
Yeah, and like I don't know, we really didn't grow up in a time without the internet, obviously. But it's like, but when I was a kid, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like these are like, oh, I don't get to see these like normally.
yeah. Well,
Like I'm not like if they drop a fucking like you just said, if they drop a Star Wars trailer tomorrow, it's not like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to see it until I go see another movie. It's like I'm watching it tomorrow. Like I could watch it the minute it's fucking published.
Well, yeah, it's like the Super Bowl ad that In-Game put out or whatever. It was like, everyone's like, oh man, they're going to put something on the Super Bowl or whatever. And I was like, I'm guaranteeing you they're uploading this like as this is airing. And I like pulled it up on my phone. It was right there. Like,
yeah,
it's going to be there for you to watch whenever you want.
Yep.
Ugh. Man. I don't know. I don't really, I feel like, honestly, besides Star Wars, I feel like I don't have anything else like for this year that I'm like, oh man, I gotta go see that. I feel like Joker was kind of like that last thing for me.
Yeah, but Star Wars is a big one. Here's the thing. It's weird. Star Wars is in a weird spot right now for me, at least, where it's like, I feel like during the Force Awakens, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, fucking Star Wars.
Hype.
And then like, that was a good movie. So I was like, Last Jedi, I was like, yeah, fuck yes, Last Jedi. And even like Rogue One, I was like, fuck yes, like Rogue One. But like now it's like we were saying, like Solo came out. What was that like last? It was last. Was it this year?
No, last year. It was 2018.
Last March, right?
Yeah, 2018 in May.
So it's like I've been without Star Wars so long now, and it's like Last Jedi wasn't the best movie ever, and like I liked Solo, but it wasn't the best movie ever. So now I'm like kind of like, yeah, Episode 9's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like that's like a good place to be in though, because it's like
it's true.
It's just like you got to get rid of these, and I feel like I'm not sitting here saying that like Disney like purposely like I don't know sabotage Last Jedi, but it's almost like I feel like from Disney's perspective, it's like we'll work up with all this like hype for The Force Awakens, but then after that like we gotta like almost temper expectations, because it's just if the hype for like Force Awakens and then you knocked out of the park, which I think they did a very good job, it's like what's the next thing you have to hit, you know what I mean? Like
yeah. And that's the thing, like I remember being in New York just like listening to fucking Star Wars music on my phone. Like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Go into the theater, like, you know, the fanfare comes on. Yeah! Like,
yeah, like that's how I imagine it was for like people
with the Phantom Menace.
During Phantom Menace.
Which, oof.
Yeah. But it's like, it was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, Star Wars is back. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I was just doing like a quick check. There really isn't anything. There's a lot of like this is the season where like Oscar buzz movies are going to start coming out, so there's that. But like outside of like some of the stuff that we've been seeing trailers for, like Gemini Man and Terminator and stuff, I mean, I don't know. It just, you've got I'm getting into November for that. We've seen trailers for this too, but that Doctor Sleep movie, which I'm
meh.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna see it, but I'm not like, oh man, I can't wait for Doctor Sleep.
Yeah. Can I just say too, like we are severely lacking horror movies this month. I feel like last October we had that Halloween remake, or not remake, but like I don't know, it was like the
quote unquote sequel.
Yeah, sequel, and it was good. Like it was really good. I think we all agreed. Like that was a really good movie. And like this year, it's like there's nothing. Like, is there anything coming out like that Addams Family movie? I guess.
Yeah.
That's not horror though. That's fucking kiddie play.
Yeah, I understand, but it's like there's like nothing else. Like Zombieland. That's a comedy.
I don't think there's a single horror movie coming out in all of October.
I know Rob Zombie's like, I don't know if that's getting like released to every theater, but he made like a horror film. I can't remember what it was called. He was talking about it on the JRE.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not
like
a horror movie.
Doctor Sleep comes out.
Yeah, I guess that's horror. I'll give it.
That's November anyway.
Oh yeah. Tough.
It came out last month. I mean, Joker maybe, but like that's kind of like grasping.
Yeah, it seems like if you want some spooky movies, you're gonna have to have some movie nights at your house.
Yeah, which I'm fine with.
Well, yeah.
I would have enjoyed like at least one, like even a shitty one, like.
Yeah. Yeah, just something you could laugh at, like.
Yeah, like The Nun. Well, The Nun. Did The Nun didn't come out in October though? Did it?
I don't remember.
No, I don't think it did because I feel like we were there during. I was in
Statesboro. Yeah.
Well, not like the summer, but like more like August. The Nun was released September 7th, 2018.
Does The Conjuring 3 have a release date?
I don't think so. I know that James Wan isn't directing it, which makes me kind of weary about it. But The Conjuring 3 right now is a release date for next year on September 11th.
Hey-o.
So, also, I was just looking through this movie release schedule. Universal, I think, actually does not believe in this Cats movie because they are opening it the same weekend as Star Wars Episode 9.
Oh, God.
They don't believe in it? Wow.
Or
that's
they're
crazy.
trying to be... Yeah. After that trailer, they were like, hey, let's move it. Let's just...
I saw an Onion article that was like, Martin Scorsese says Cats is the only real cinema left.
Well, it's like, I don't know. I think when Force Awakens came out, it was, that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler movie. It was like Sisters or something. I don't even know what it was called. And Alvin and the Chipmunks were the two, like, other quote-unquote big movies coming out that weekend. It's like, you don't care about your movie, do you? Like, you want this to die.
That they're still making Alvin and the Chipmunks movies.
Yeah, I don't know if there's... I think that one that came out was the fourth one that they did.
Surely
Alvin
it's more than that.
And the Chipmunks. If it's not much more than that, it's only like 5, if
really?
more. Alvin and the Chipmunks movies.
I feel like a Chipmunk movie came out every year for like 6 years.
Well, I know you saw them all, but
I know. I'm a huge fan.
Theatrical releases: The Chipmunk Adventure. Oh, that's the 1987 like animated one. So from like these live action ones, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks the Squeakquel, Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwreck, and Alvin and the Chipmunks the Road Chip.
Well, what about didn't Chipettes get a solo movie too?
I thought
not
so.
From what I'm seeing.
Oh, I thought they did.
I could be
Fucking
wrong. I'm just
patriarchy. Hashtag we live in a society, boys.
There were two. there were two straight to DVD releases, direct-to-video films.
For Chipettes?
No.
Oh.
Just still Alvin and the boy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think we're pretty far into it, so we can cut off there if you guys want.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one, I think.
Stop the presses.